31-13, Denver wins this game much closer than the scoreboard indicated. In fact, I would say that scoreboard lies a lot about how this game went. Denver's top-graded players here as the victors in this game. Edge rusher Nick Bonitto, 92.2, an unbelievable last 4 games for him where he's graded out as an elite player. Safety Brandon Jones, 92.0. Tight end Nate Adkins with an 85.9. Offensive tackle Mike McGlinchey, an 81.3. And then cornerback Chris Abrams-Drain, a 79.4. Played well in this game. Bo Nix, a 55.8 overall grade in this one. And then on Indianapolis' side of things, Nick Cross, an 86.7. Sam Womack, their corner, a 79.9. Tight end Kylan Granson with a 74.7. Safety Julian Blackman, a 69.8. Offensive tackle Matt Goncalves with a 68.9. And then Anthony Richardson, a 50.5 overall grade. Stat that told the story, Dalton.
I think we're going to both get at the same thing here. This was just a full tilt meltdown by the Colts. Just as
textbook how to lose a game.
This might even be more than textbook. This might have been beyond the textbook.
Masterclass.
There you go. See that?
How to lose a football game.
Now we're talking. You're up 13-7. Jonathan Taylor breaks free for what we think is a 40-yard touchdown.
What we think?
Drops the ball because I don't know why people still do this. We didn't mention it earlier, but Jordan Battle, too, in the Bengals game when he should have had a pick six, drops the ball through the back of the end zone. Jonathan Taylor drops the ball 6 inches before the goal line. They would have gone up 20-7. The way this might have been the best game the Colts defense played all season. Bo Nix,
they played great.
Bo Nix early in this game was horrible.
Terrible. Yes, it was a bad Bo game, and they played good defense.
We finally got a good defensive game out of the Colts. We finally broke through on an explosive run for Taylor that would have probably won. The Colts up 20-7 early in the third quarter of this game are winning this game.
I agree with you.
And then that happens. And I said, I was watching the game upstairs with our good friend Max Chadwick, and the second that happened and they reviewed it and they called it a fumble and out of the end, I was like, oh, the Colts are going to lose now. I told them the second half because it's just
you don't get many of those.
Even up 6,
right?
Even up 6 points, and the Broncos getting the ball at the 20. I said, no, it's over. They're gonna lose now. You don't come back from that. And then it's an interception from Richardson, and then it's they're calling it a fumble return touchdown for Nick Bonitto, which feels weird. I think there's some lateral rules for that it's like. Or if they determine it wasn't. I'm telling you, the play for Nick Bonitto, they're calling it a fumble return touchdown as opposed to an interception officially.
Never hit the ground.
Right, but I don't know if there's a double pass rule or because maybe it wasn't forward or something. I don't know why it's weird. I'm just telling you, that's what they're calling it. So I guess it's a pick six, but it's actually not. It's a fumble return. It's a scoop and score, even though the scoop was in the air. It's very strange official scoring. I don't know how that works. But anyway, that's what it was. But then there was also, you had 3 punts, you had 2 turnovers.
Who gets the fumble? A.D. Mitchell? He just chucked it backwards?
A.D. still gets the fumble. I'm not even totally sure it was backwards, but they're calling it a fumble return touchdown.
It must have been backwards because if he throws it forward, it's a pick.
Yeah.
But I can understand if he throws it backwards because I'm trying to think in my head, if he's throwing it backwards, it'd be a live football.
Yeah.
So it's just live anyway.
But honestly, I thought it was forward. It's weird. I don't know.
If it's forward, it would be a pick. If it's backwards, it would be a fumble.
I wonder if Bonitto almost appeals it to get another interception instead of a fumble recovery. But
either way,
it's got to be said. The official scoring is weird. But anyway, meltdown of epic proportions. And my most disappointing, and I know I've gotten on him a couple times, and he even talked after the game about look, that just can't happen. You can't drop the ball at the goal line, even though we've seen several guys do it this year. Jonathan Taylor, look. 58 running backs have played at least 200 snaps this year. He's the lowest graded out of all of them. The fumble in this game, he had a drop earlier in this game. 40 yards on that play before the fumble. Mm-hmm. His other 21 carries, 67 yards.
Yeah,
I mean
he's got phantom yards too. He is very inefficient this year beyond what his offensive line does.
Something is. I don't know if off or I know we've been over this before, but I mean, and again, when that play happened, I was sitting right next to Max, and I was like, dude, the Broncos are going to win this game now.
He has over 900 yards rushing and a 4.4 yards per carry average. But his yards after contact is low, and his yards, his missed tackles forced per attempt is very low.
I think he's only forced 20 all season or something.
Jonathan Taylor's going to get over 1,000 yards this season, and he is going to have a yards per carry average above 4. And people are going to try to tell you that he had a good season. That's why you need to get a PFF Plus subscription.
It's been rough. It's been really rough with Taylor. I don't know. And it's, again, I know there's been some injuries on the Colts O-line, but even then they've played reasonably well when you can get behind Quentin Nelson and those guys. And then it feels like this fumble now is just the exclamation point on all of it. It's just like we've seen it however many times. I've seen it between NFL and college this year. Run through the friggin' goal line. I mean,
it's so strange.
Jordan Battle did the same thing. We had Malachi Corley earlier in the year. I think there was one other one. I've seen him in college. I'm like, what is the deal? What are we so giddy to get rid of the football for?
I don't know.
Just hang on to it.
I don't know.
Did
you see Marvin Mims a couple of weeks ago? Speaking of the Broncos, when Marvin Mims caught what is objectively Bo Nix's best pass this season, that absolute seed up the seam. I can't remember. Was it Monday Night Football?
Yeah. Oh, last week.
Was it last week?
Was it against
2 weeks ago?
Or was it 2 weeks ago? I forget.
Whatever it was on primetime, and it was from his own end zone
against
the
Browns.
An absolute seed. Yeah, it was against the Browns, and he catches it. If you'll notice, he does the track star like drop it behind him, but he waits a full step until he is in the end zone and then drops it behind him. And I was like, we're learning. And now see the Jonathan Taylor play, and no, we're not. Clearly, we're not. The Colts blunders are my stat that told the story here as well, because it's not just the Nick Bonitto fumble/interception, whatever you want to call it. The Michael Pittman fumble in the third quarter, You're up 6. He fumbles it. Jonathan Taylor dropping it at the 1-yard line. Again, third quarter, you're up 6. And then you have a situation where you're in the fourth quarter, you're only down 4. That Nick Bonitto play only happened when you were down 4 points. And it just went nuclear after that in the worst way. And the most disappointing is a wasted Colts defensive effort. This was a good game from the Colts defense, which has had a really tough time this season. And you wasted it. Now, did Richardson play as well as he could have in this game? No, he didn't. But even the way that Richardson played, if you don't have these massive blunders, you go into Denver and you win this football game. How different do your playoff hopes look if you win this football game?
Up 20-7 early in the third, they would have won this game the way their defense was playing.
It's just and obviously, like, credit to the Broncos for hitting the gas when they eventually did. I mean, this was not a good team effort the first half, but Nick Bonitto, just a shout out Nick Bonitto, my most impressive in this one, 92.2 overall grade this week, has 3 of the top 50 single game grades of any defensive player since week 11.
It's coming on.
That's pretty nuts.
You need young guys to
Think
emerge.
of every defensive player in the NFL and how many games have been played since week 11. He has 3 of the top 50 graded plays, all of them above 90. The lowest one's like a 90.2. The other ones are like 92.2 and 92.6 or something like that. Those the two highest ones are both top 15 of all defensive player performances. He's been on fire, man.
Young players emerging for this Broncos defense is a theme for sure. I think Bonitto, Jonah Ellis, a rookie I really like off the edge, Riley Moss, and let me give you another guy right now with Riley Moss out for this game with an injury. Chris Abrams-Drain, the rookie from Missouri
legend.
And a guy I really liked, watching the last couple years at Missouri, but Ennis Rakestraw got taken before him as the guy kind of with more physical tools, and Abrams-Drain was kind of, the football player who outperformed his physical skills and all that, but he's just a really darn good player, and he goes out here. This was only the second game he's seen action in all season. It's his first start of his NFL career. 6 targets, 1 catch allowed for 11 yards, 2 forced incompletions, big plays too, one of them it was a deep ball to Alec Pierce in the end zone that he broke up, and another one was a 4th down stop he broke up a pass to Josh Downs that pretty much put the game away. Just another good young football player in this Broncos secondary that Sean Payton, look, they've done a great job with this rookie class when you consider they weren't exactly in prime. They didn't have a ton of draft capital to work with. right? I don't think they had a second-round pick. They got their last pick of the quarterbacks, even though they may have wanted Bo Nix anyway. But you get a Bo Nix, you get a Jonah Ellis, you get Chris Abrams-Drain. They're using Audric Estime a little bit. They're working in Troy Franklin.
Good draft class.
Very quietly, they had a really good draft, and Abrams-Drain is another guy that emerged in this game. If Riley Moss had to miss another game, I think they would feel really good about Abrams-Drain in his place.
Sean Payton kind of knows what he's doing.
That's a ball knower.
Kind of knows
a
what he's
certified
doing.
ball knower.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. And if you don't have a PFF Plus subscription, you can get one to see all the premium stats that we talked about here on the show, plus the expert betting and fantasy advice over at subscribe.pff.com. The description is also right below, so if you are not a PFF Plus subscriber, you can become one today.